So this is kind of related to the whole entertainment conversation that we were having about like women wanting dudes to be charismatic and charming and basically be entertainment on dates. There's Netflix for that, but okay, Eric, can you go ahead and pull it up? I met this guy. He's really. Oh, can you hold on? Hold on. Can you pause the audio because it's or mute the audio? My bad. All right. Client, I met this guy. He's really nice, but I don't care. I don't know. Next, or just play. I don't feel that much chemistry with him. He's boring. And get ready to pause. He doesn't trigger my anxious trauma response, which I confuse with love. So, any reaction to that?
I think that's super valid. I think that's super, super valid. And, you know, growing up, seeing an unhappy marriage between my parents and, you know, having an attorney as a dad, you sense love in different ways. And I absolutely have had to work through, and I'm still very much so trying to work through, feeling comfortable in, you know, what would be a healthy relationship. And if a guy, you know, I mean, I've said to Stella, oh, we went out, but he was boring. Like it just, it didn't, you know, we had great conversation, but I didn't feel anything. So yeah, I think that's super valid.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much just when the whole vibe chemistry thing, it's to me, it's just this nebulous term. What does that even mean? I mean, I often hear from girls, the guy could otherwise be perfectly pleasant, treat you well, even be attractive.
Checks all the boxes.
But you just don't feel that. And like guys, it's just very different because guys, we don't look. Also, I think it's the vibe is something the guy brings. It's the guy that's lacking something that is eliciting the vibe in you. The vibe. How often do women bring the vibe? It's just the guy isn't charismatic enough. He's not funny. He's not entertaining. He's not.
Well, what I'll say is I bring my vibe everywhere that I go. And if he has anything going on and it starts, and we're just, if it's flowing seamlessly, you know, if we're just talking and we can have good conversation and I don't have to think, oh gosh, what should I ask him next? Like, what should I remember to bring up because we're going to run out of conversation. That's what I mean by the vibe. If we are on the same wavelength, you know, intellectually, and we can have a solid conversation, that's when I feel the vibe. But
I think when you're searching for the electricity, the chemistry, the vibe, the click, the butterflies, whatever bullshit term you want to call it, this is why women fall for players.
Yeah,
because
they're charismatic.
They excite you. They tell good stories. They have charisma. But we as men, we are not your entertainers. If you want entertainment, go watch Netflix. Like, we don't exist to make you entertained. So I don't know. I think
she's just talking about the fact that a guy needs to be able to hold a conversation. Like we're not expecting them to do a little.
Holy shit!
Mark Coons super chatted $500. Ladies, would you date a guy in the oil industry in North Dakota? By the way, I'm in my mid-40s.
Hold on, actually, that really quick, that triggers fireworks. Yo, Mark Coons, thank you for the big $500 soup chat. Holy shit, man. Dude, thank you so fucking much, man. I really appreciate your patronage, man. That's really nice. So, what was the question?
Would you date a guy that works in the oil industry in Dakota? He's in his mid-40s, by the way. No, I have a boyfriend. But if I was single, maybe.
Just because he's 40. No.
40 too old?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to move to North Dakota, personally.
Yeah, at this point, 40 is a little old for myself.
North Dakota, then?
I'd love to move to some random little state. I can't wait to get out of California.
He owns like 7 oil derricks. Have you seen There Will Be Blood? The critically acclaimed film by Daniel Day-Lewis?
No.
This guy's a direct descendant of Daniel Plainview.
Wow.
Oil man. He's an oil man.
Wow.
Okay.
That's old money.
What about you? Would you do it?
Okay. Sorry.
All right. What were we talking about? The vibe, thank you. What was his name again?
I think you were just trying to tell us
that
energy is not a real thing, when I think it very much is.
We don't need you to do like a whole song and dance for us, but if you can, like she was saying, I don't need to be the one pulling the conversation the whole time.
I think it's a mutual thing. I think it's either there or it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I did what most women do on first dates, like if I didn't carry the conversation, I guaranteed that it would be awkward silence all the fucking time for most dates I go on.
So then
girls.
You're dating the wrong women.
No, it's just y'all can't really carry a conversation.
I wish you could experience myself on a date, because I can only speak for myself.
So hold on, Sophia, you and me on our date. I'm gonna do lead the conversation.
Like we're first meeting, we're sitting down.
Hey, it's good to see you. Good to meet you.
Where are you from? Whatever.
Santa Barbara. Oh, here I'll sure. What about you?
I'm from Tahoe. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, it's like up north.
Yeah. Have you ever been?
Nope.
That's cool. Well, you should visit sometime.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Where'd I go to school? UCLA, and then
cool.
CC first.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Personally, I go to school in Santa Barbara.
Oh, cool.
Have you? Yeah. Do you like Santa Barbara? Do you visit SoCal very often? Or you went to school in LA? Did you ever go to Santa Barbara?
Yeah, occasionally. Like we went to IV to like party and shit. Got drunk, whatever.
What's the point here? Where are we going with this?
The fact that conversation.
Yeah. He's demonstrating how bland women are. But when
this is like you're supposed to be.
When you asked this woman out on a date, did you not already realize she's totally bland? And I thought you said you were into the bland.
You did say that.
It's a bit. I mean, it's a little different what I'm getting at here.
Okay.
I think what you're getting at is you're saying that why do men have to constantly carry conversation on the first date, as well as putting the pressure of opening the car door and paying, right?
Let me frame it.
That's pretty good.
What's that?
Well, yeah, that was a comprehensive analysis. Do you want to repeat it?
Yeah. Go ahead. Repeat it.
So I'm saying, like, apart from that, like, his point is that, men are the ones that have to carry everything. They have to carry the conversation on the first date. They have to open the doors on the first date. They have to pay on the first date. So I think what Brian is trying to say is, what do women bring on a first date?
Sort of.
We had this whole conversation.
Yeah.
But he's saying, like, why do the men have to carry everything?
But what I'm saying is that the vibe, the click, the chemistry, that is something that's going to be elicited by the man, typically through some conversation. Or the vibe, the click, the chemistry can also be elicited if he is, say, 2 points or 3 points higher than you in terms of attractiveness. So a guy can elicit it by being very charismatic, but being equivalent to you in looks. But if he's also very attractive, you're more likely to feel the vibe, the click, the connection.
Yeah, women like to date more attractive men.
Right. Yeah. But the point I'm trying to say is we're talking about like carrying conversations. Like, bro, if on dating apps, for example, if I'm messaging with a girl, I almost wish we could play this out like on Instagram. If one of you were like messaging me, we role played back and forth on Instagram as if we matched on a dating app. Like I could pretty clearly show you, like as a dude, you have to carry and lead the conversation.
Totally. But I also agree if I'm not on any dating apps. If I were, I mean, I've had people slide into my Instagram DMs. So I guess I can speak on this. If someone hits me up and they say, hey, and we happen to be in the same area, if they would like to set up a date with me or whatever, I would probably go ahead and do that. I wouldn't have him pick me up in that case because I don't know him. It would be a public place, midday, whatever. But like, I don't think you should be just going back and forth. What do you have to talk about? Like, I think that you should sit down and initially see if there's any attraction there. Like there's a physical thing that you should probably test out first.
I don't think men carry the conversation. I think that when you go on a date, there's either a connection and you guys hit it off and you guys are both engaging in conversation and you get along really well, or you don't. And I don't think that necessarily like men have to carry the conversation all the time. Like personally, in my experience, I'm a talker. Like, I love to talk.
Sure. And I'm not saying it's all women, but generally speaking, I would say that most women, if I did what most women do on a date, like kind of be held back and silent for a bit initially, if I didn't start the conversation, it would honestly just be dead silent.
If you're dating the most awkward girl ever,
but
like
no, like
most
a lot of women are just like bad at conversation. Remember when you remember when we were talking about like, you know, like, do you have to dumb yourself down, right?
Yeah.
Or remember when we were talking about like, well, no, I think like men do like smart women. Like they'll be in relationships with women who provide absolutely nothing to a conversation. They'll do it, and it doesn't sound good. And my assumption is that you guys are all in college, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're already like a minority of the population. When we're talking about very regular things that happen in dating, a lot of this stuff isn't going to stick to you. Especially like, what was your major?
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's not even I don't even think that's a common thing that women major in. Like, so you're like a unicorn. A lot of what you say is not going to make sense when it comes to like modern dating, right? Because you're out of the norm. Does that make sense? So like most chicks, a lot of the DMs I get, and I get them from single men who are dating all the time, day in, day out, they just don't carry a conversation. And the guy's kind of sitting there kind of like, well, geez, like, how do I even become engaging? You know what I mean?
Totally. I think that most girls are super bland because we have messages being sent out that's like, guys don't care about smart girls. And sure, maybe they don't, but women, we should still be ambitious to a point that we want to make ourselves smarter and better people and good company and fun to be around and smart, seasoned, like... I think that all plays in. And when we're talking about IQ, I don't necessarily need to make more money than you, but I still should be smart and I should know how to carry a conversation because I think that's so much more valuable than a degree or whatever.
Like, okay, I'm going to say this. Most people are so dumb, they can't carry a conversation, man and woman.
100%.
Right? However, men are dating men that are typically smarter than them, right? So it's like they're relying on him to be entertainment. And it's a really boring and stressful experience for a man at the same time. Like boring in terms of he's not being intellectually stimulated at all. And then it's stressful because he has to impress her. Like,
so what's your point to all of this?
So my point to all of this is you don't understand that you're a unicorn. If you tell me your life story, I've heard like enough about you already. You are like a very, 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 very small percentage of women. But when you talk about dating, you give a lot of your subjective experience, and there's credit to that. But I'm telling you, like, most women suck at conversation, which is fine because most men don't care that you're smart. That's great. You just have to be like beautiful, sweet, and pleasant. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? You be like a high charging woman. You do that, and you'll probably be with a high charging man, and that'll be like a superpower couple thing. But that's just not going to be what most men and women experience. That was like my point. It's just like, I'm telling you, they suck at conversation.
Okay, yeah, and we got that point like a long time ago. That's why it's like kind of just like...
I know you elaborate on every single thing you say and go and go and go.
Well, I would just imagine that I talk a lot being a podcaster, so...
Yeah.
It's kind of like what
I totally understand.
I thought that this was Brian's podcast.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess really the point I'm trying to make, and I'm going to just try to wrap this up here soon. So along pretty much every step of the way, the guy has to initiate. The guy basically has to carry. And that could manifest itself in carrying the conversations, but the guy's going to have to, depends the context in which you're meeting. But for example, you guys say you don't really approach men, right?
I would say I approach men. I talk to men. I'll start conversation. I don't typically initiate a date.
Let me ask you a question. Have guys approached you before?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. When the guy approaches you, are you like immediately like full on into the conversation? Like you're immediately contributing to the conversation 50-50 as soon as he approaches you? No, you're probably like, he's going to have to do most of the talking initially.
If I find him attractive, I will be totally engaged in the conversation.
I do. I feel like I talk a lot. Like
really?
Yeah, like
really?
Immediately.
Bro, oh my God, Rin.
The reason why I'm not talking a lot right now is because like, you know, other people are saying more and it's like, I feel like I'd have nothing.
She talks a lot, boys. Okay.
But
allegedly.
Like, no, like
allegedly.
If someone were to talk to me, like immediately, I would just jump straight into like a big combo.
All right. Well.
And like, yeah, the thing about like the entertaining thing, it's like, yeah, because you guys already said like it's not every woman, so I was like, nothing really to say.
Let me ask a different question. Who's here on dating apps? Okay. Do you message first, or does the guy message first?
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, assign a percentage. More often than not, is it the guy messaging first? Okay.
Like 80-20, maybe.
80-20.
Sure.
Okay, so right away he's already carrying. So from there, are you like, he's probably asking you a question or saying something witty, and then a lot of guys experience, most men's experience is girls be given one-word responses. She's probably not that interested, granted, but like that's the game that men have to play. One-word responses, like.
Most of the time, I'm given one-word responses for them to start the conversation. They're saying, hey, they're not saying much, so I have to kind of pull the conversation. It doesn't matter if they texted me first, but if they're not contributing to the conversation.
But women also they won't even move along the conversation. I'll get to you in a sec. So, for example, does the guy go for the phone number? Does the guy suggest the first date?
Sometimes they don't.
More often than not, go ahead.